Hey guys, Dennis here with Revog Games. I'm joined by
Joshua Weyers, all the way in South Africa.
yes, and we know it's been a while since our
A
last
long
episode.
time,
It's been, I
yeah.
think, almost 2 months, but a lot has happened in those 2 months. I mean, I know on my side, one, we launched our VR game Rift XR, so we launched that in July. And now it's available for free on Steam, so you guys can check it out if you have a VR headset. Even if you have Quest, you can do it through your PC if you have a good enough PC and play it there. It's free to play. You can download it. Just look it up, Rift XR. So we launched that, and so we've been dealing with all of that and upgrading the game and updating because it's still in early access. So we have a lot of things that we need to fix and also stuff we need to add to it. So we've been doing that, and then I know on my own side, like I've been shooting my short film, which I shot 4 days out of the 5 days that I needed, and I know that took a lot of my time and energy. And then in Josh, I know you were busy with a lot of voice acting and voiceover
Yeah,
work.
actually, one gig I can talk about now because it's actually officially over, which was I did this Chinese educational children's show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I was like a school teacher teaching this little class of fireflies all about bugs and anatomy and stuff. It was an interesting little project. That kept me busy though. Dubbed that, and then I also booked. I just recently booked another job, which is why I've been busy. Can't talk about that one, but
Mm-hmm.
it's animation.
Nice.
Super exciting. I actually think like it's the first like really like gritty like voice acting work I got to do that isn't just me like trying to do a corporate trying to sell you something kind of voice.
Mm-hmm.
You do that for 3 years, it kind of kills you. So it's nice. I've been real busy with voice acting on the dubbing side, which I never thought I'd get into dubbing, but here I
Yeah.
am, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. World career paths take you all kind of different
Yeah,
directions and
it's
stuff.
it's been good. Like it's the same work I do from home. Technically, the work I do from home does get paid better, but this
Mm-hmm.
is more consistent. You know what I mean? Which therefore is more money in long term, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then I'll probably update people on my short film. It's called Best
Mm,
Bros Forever.
yeah.
It's a dark comedy. You can check out the Instagram or check out my Instagram, Dennis.tzng, and I'll update more as we go along. But that's kind of the reason why we haven't had an episode because every time like I had time, you didn't have time, or time you had time,
Mm.
I didn't have time because we're both
It's been real tricky,
busy.
yeah.
Yeah, but finally, I've shot the majority of my short film. We've launched the game now, Rift XR. So things are, a little more stable. I mean, still there's a lot of stuff to do. But anyways, let's talk about games. We missed, not missed, but like there's some big stuff that we kind of missed. We'll talk about the whole Microsoft winning the Activision Blizzard case. We'll talk about that later, but we've got so much big games that have come out now. It's crazy to
Oh
think
yeah.
since the last time we talked, now Starfield, by the time this comes out, it's literally hours away. And plus people have already paid or upgraded the pre-orders and have been playing the game for a few days now. Because if you had upgraded to like premium or whatever version they had, like I'm not talking about the Game Pass version, but like if you upgrade to whatever, then you would have gotten early access to the game and had already been playing Starfield. And I know some of the reviewers that had gotten a couple weeks ago have already finished the game and are like continuing on. So let's talk about that first because that is, I would say from what I'm hearing, it's not the best game of the year, or at least because it's been a positive to mixed response to it, but it's definitely the most talked about game of the year, I would say, right? Just
Oh,
because
for
of
sure.
where it stands in the whole, Xbox versus PlayStation battle, whatever. Also, PlayStations don't really have any big games coming out this year, so Starfield is definitely like the one that Xbox really needed, and I think from the response, it did most of what it needed to do, but I guess it wasn't. I guess it wasn't the game changer, groundbreaking game that people were expecting. It's just
Yeah.
what you were if you are a Bethesda game fan, like if you like the Fallout series, you like the Elder Scrolls series, you got that in space, obviously with some, more freedom to do other stuff like the ship customization and building your bases and whatnot. But in general, from what I hear, it's like this is a really good Bethesda game, but that's what you're getting. You're not getting anything new. You're not getting anything different from what you should expect. And I think maybe some people were disappointed by that, and I think some people were expecting it to be like this big, industry changing game, but I don't think that's what it is. What's your take on the response to it?
Right. So yeah, mixed reviews for sure. Some people are hailing it as a 10 out of 10 game. Some
Yes.
people are saying the exact opposite. That's why I can see why I could see why IGN gave it a 7. I think
Hmm.
a 7 might be a bit low,
Yeah,
at least for what I've seen
probably.
so far. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing, like I've watched so many reviews that I just watched Video Game Donkey's review, and
Mhm.
his review was him reviewing the reviews. He was like, I'm
Mhm.
gonna base my review off of other people's reviews, just so people just can't get upset at his own take on it. And it is interesting to look at all the complaints people make. Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
There is a lot of them that are fair that people make,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, every single streamer and person I know that's like played most of the game, they said there is so much to offer in this game. Like the scope of this game is massive. The amount of like side quests and like you're gonna like the nitty grittiness of the RPG. It's there. That's what I'm excited for. I know that there are going to be bugs. It's Bethesda. Skyrim is hailed as one of the greatest games of all time. We buy it every freaking 10 years. The game,
Mhm.
every anniversary. When that game came out, there was so many bugs.
Yeah.
Like game breaking bugs, yes, but we embrace it. And I know that people at Bethesda are saying we embrace the bugs. Some of them I can see are a bit like annoying. Like I've seen bugs where like your AI gets in the way, completely blocking you, like where you're
Mhm.
like locked into a part of your ship you can't get out of because you're like stuck in a corner or something. Like
Mhm.
stuff like that does suck, but they're gonna fix it. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people were complaining about optimization issues, but I think that's because the game leaked. Like the game leaked pretty early. Like the
Mhm.
people, there was a dude who got caught selling review copies,
Yes, I saw that.
um, and he got arrested. Funny is it was
Well,
he
he
got
got
knocked
arrested
on by
because
a
he
redditor.
told everyone that's what he was doing. He like stole a bunch of
Well, he
copies.
used his real name.
Yeah.
He was trying to sell it through YouTube and stuff, and he
Yeah.
used his real name on his YouTube channel. And then some redditor found it and narked on him, which is funny. But yeah, so it's like there is a copy of Starfield out there that a lot of people are reviewing that I know is not the copy that they should be reviewing.
Mhm.
So I also take that with a grain of salt too. Um, that being said, man, I got the game pre-installed. If I was gonna be up at 2 a.m., which is when the game comes out for me, that's in about
Mhm.
3 hours from now. So when the game comes out, I'd still be playing it. I know I'm gonna have a great time with it. The combat, from the most part, the combat's okay. That's what I can gauge from every single person's review
Yeah.
on it. It's like it's not the best, but it
But
is better
I
than
heard
what they
it.
were
Yes,
expecting.
I heard it's
Yeah,
better than any other Bethesda game. But in terms of like
correct.
compared
Yes.
to other games, yes, it's not. It's just okay. But
Mm.
compared to, let's say, Fallout or
It's
Skyrim, it's
fantastic for
better.
Bethesda. Yeah, I
Yes,
mean compared
it's
to
much
Fallout
more of a.
76,
It's
even.
much more like a FPS, right? It's like much more of
Correct.
that feeling. So.
I will say there are they. I think that they need to focus more on some balancing issues. Like the gun gameplay is. I think it's okay. Like
Mhm.
they could tweak it to make it better. I think, but at the moment it's okay. The issue is balancing. Like you can have this amazing you can have this amazing assault rifle
Mhm.
plowing someone with a bunch of bullets doing no damage, or you could pick up a pistol and just like get like one headshot and kill the guy. I don't like there. I do think there are balance issues, but those will come with they'll fix that later on. Also, don't know how repetitive things are going to be like down the
Mhm.
line. But all I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting lost in it. Like everyone who's reviewed this game, no one's really touched on the factions and like all
Mhm.
the things that you could do get from a Bethesda game. You know what I mean? From a game
Mhm.
like Elder Scrolls or the Fallout franchise. You know that you get all those factions, all the lore, how you deal with people. Like that's what the game's going to be about. I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
And like
I
the
think a lot of people are
customization looks
trying to.
dope.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are trying to avoid spoilers, so they're not trying to talk too much about like the
Fair.
factions and storylines. I mean, for me, like if the combat is better than previous games, and also if it can be better than, I'll be honest with you, I was a little disappointed with Cyberpunk 2077 because I felt like the combat wasn't as strong as I thought it was going to be, I
Mm.
felt like the weapons all felt, relatively the same. And, like even they had cool looking ones and they looked cool doing stuff. I didn't feel like that much of a differentiator between the different weapons. I would just basically use one weapon the whole time or whatever. Anyways,
Fair, yeah.
um,
I will say that as well. Like the guns. I hope that they do change things. There's a couple cool different guns out there, but I think they could have gone, at least from what I've seen so far, from like the first couple, like 3 or 4 hours of the game.
mhm.
Like it's pretty like basic kind of weapons. But I guess once again, that's them trying to keep it within that like scope of realism. You know, they don't want to make like they got it going for that like you're wearing an actual
Mhm.
space suit. You know what I mean? They're kind of like hone in a little bit of realism to make it feel more real, which I like. A lot of the worlds and the places do look very rich, though. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Rich with narrative, which is what I'm
Uh,
looking forward to. That's what the game's about.
I know
People,
another complaint was the not being able to do the No Man's Sky thing where you could like leave off of a planet and go
but they
into.
said that like a year ago or
They
something.
did, but
Yeah,
people didn't pay attention, so people were upset. Like, oh, I can't fly from here to here. It's like, I guess, maybe just because I'm not one of those people. Like, I don't like just like Microsoft Flight Simulator, right? Like, I know
hmm
you can fly from, let's say, from New York to fucking Tokyo or something like that, right?
yeah. Do it
I don't
real
want
time and take
to. I don't
hours. Yeah,
want to.
exactly. Yeah.
Like, that's
No,
cool if you want to. I'm not
look,
spending my time doing that. So,
No Man's Sky is cool because it has the hyperdrive function.
yeah.
Because what I like about No Man's Sky is you have your destination. It'll
Hmm.
literally say like 7 hours away if you're flying at your current speed, but then you hit the hyperdrive and it's like 30 seconds away or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the I mean Bethesda said it a year ago. Like Todd Howard said it. He's like, we would rather focus on two different realities. The reality that is on the ground and the reality that is space.
Yeah.
And then we would rather make those two realities work well within their own right. You know what I mean? If they had to spend too much, like, dude, a good example is Beyond Good and Evil 2, the game that we haven't heard about for so long, right?
Hmm.
That's a good example of a game trying so hard to make that system, that No Man's Sky system of being able to land on a
Hmm.
planet, take off out of the atmosphere, go into space, go to another planet, enter its atmosphere, and land. Being able to pull that off in real time is so intense that you're just not going to have the time to make the game. Case in point, Beyond Good and Evil 2. They've spent so much time working on that part of the engine that they probably haven't even started on the game yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for me, Bethesda games are about the meeting the NPCs, whether they're companions or people in there getting quests that are interesting. Because that was the thing. It's like, I don't like side quests that are just filler, right? Just fetch quests or whatever. There's got to be meaning
Mm-hmm.
behind them. I've got to be involved into the story. Why am I going to kill these people? Why do I need to find this thing? Why? Give me that story. That's what's going to pull me in. And from what I heard is that one, that it's a bit slow. Like it takes many hours to like
Oh
for the
yeah,
game to
before
get
it starts.
going.
True.
But once it does, then it's good. It's like good old fashioned Bethesda, storytelling, and
Mhm.
that's what I'm excited about. And yes, it's
I
not a
did
game changer, but
I did watch Doctor Disrespect play 4 hours of the game. Well, not
mhm,
the full 4 hours, but he just did side quests for 4 hours because he didn't want to obviously do any main quest stuff before the game comes out. And his whole take on it was that it was like the exploration wasn't rewarding
mhm,
in the sense of and he would specifically relate it to Skyrim. Like in Skyrim, you're gonna go down to that dungeon, you're gonna fight the people, you're gonna do all that, and then you might just find like a cool little rare
yeah,
item there, a thing there. There's like he says there's not much reward in that sense, you know what I mean? Like of going like you're just kind of like shooting down people and then kind of getting a new gun thing or you
yeah.
know.
I
But
could see
which
that
I
complaint. I can
yeah,
see that
I
because
yeah.
like Elden Ring is like one of the best things is exploring and finding new
hmm
areas and finding new stuff that like that was kind of hidden. It's just like a little cool thing where and same with the previous
Here's the
Bethesda
thing,
games.
Elden Ring needed it, but because Elden Ring doesn't have dialogue trees
There's
and heavy,
there's no story. There's no
exactly.
story. There's a
So
very
so that's
light
why,
story.
that's why Starfield I think can kind of get away with that because I'm excited for the narrative. For the first time ever, we're getting a rich lore universe
Hmm.
based in space, not in post-apocalyptic America.
Hmm.
Not in a fantasy realm.
Yeah.
Like this, we're finally getting a space. That's what I'm excited about. It's the first proper space RPG. Yeah, I mean, what's it? I'm blanking on
Outer
it now.
Worlds. There was Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's the. I was gonna say yes, there was that, and I really liked what they did, but this is on a whole different scale, dude. This is a massive scale game, which is also why
Yes.
you're gonna have boring places. There's gonna be repetition. It's the scale of this game is massive.
Yeah.
You can't land from space to planet, but supposedly if you really wanted to,
You
you
can
could fly
fly.
from planet to planet.
Yeah, I
It's just
saw.
it would take like 7 or 8 hours or something.
Yeah, I saw Alana Pierce's video. She said she did it. She was like, "Oh, she flew to Pluto, and it
And
took
it's
her
just like a
like
block
seven
or
hours.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took her 7 hours. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, is that what you really want in a game? I mean, she did it
Exactly.
just as as a for fun, But like, really,
Yeah.
that's not what I want in a game. Like, honestly, like I
I
just want
love
to.
yeah. I
I
love
s-
exploration in Bethesda games, but let's face it, after like 5, 6 hours in, we are fast traveling all over the place, man. You know what I mean? You're
mhm.
like all of a sudden that horse of yours that you've been using so much, you don't care about him. You're just fast traveling everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
Uh I don't know. I think it's still gonna be good. Some places have wall boundaries and people are like, "Oh, it has a wall boundary," and it's like
After
I can see
15 minutes, that's the
yeah.
thing. They went on the planet and they walked in one direction for 15 minutes and then they hit a wall. It's like, dude, I am not walking
Yeah.
15 minutes
It's
straight in
not
one
No Man's
direction.
Sky. Like No Man's Sky, you would do that because you're looking for resources specifically. And there is resource like harvesting in this game, but it's not on the scale of like No Man's Sky. And it's so I keep seeing people constantly complaining about Starfield and then relating and then showing No Man's Sky and how No Man's Sky thrives. I love No Man's Sky. I've
Hmm.
played a lot of it. It's a different game.
Yeah.
It's a survival based game. Oh, ooh, your camera overheated.
Oh man. All right. Well, you can still
I can
hear me,
still hear you
right?
though.
All right.
Yeah, I
Well,
can still hear you.
let's keep going. I'm gonna turn off my camera, let it
Oh
cool
yeah,
down, but you can still hear me, and
it's
we're
okay.
still recording my audio. So let's just keep going.
One of the bugs I will say that like one of the YouTubers I watched, one of the bugs he encountered, I do think is if bugs like that happens, you kind of have to address it, which is there were bugs where he couldn't unlock skill points or perks.
Hmm.
Like you would have to like accomplish certain things to unlock a perk, and like his things would like glitch out. Like he was trying to get an extra 20% oxygen boost, I think, but he could not get the requirements done no matter what. It was just constantly glitched out for him.
Hmm.
And of all the things, like your oxygen, like to get glitch out, that's like gonna suck in the game. You know, like that's
Hmm.
gonna suck in a space game where oxygen's important. Um, so when it comes to those kinds of things, I expect fixes. I do think there's going to be a day one patch. You know what I mean for
Hmm.
optimization issues. I've been seeing some people play. Because here's the thing: the game leaked, so the game got pirated like crazy. I know so many people right now who played the game and they played the pirated version, and they're complaining about their PC like overheating and stuff. And it's like, well, listen, I mean, I'm taking this with a grain of salt. I'm assuming that's because it's not a very well optimized version that they were giving out to the reviewers. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You don't know the constraint. We don't know the constraints of those. What's it? Not NDAs. What are they called again?
Embargoes.
The embargoes. Yeah, we don't know the constraints of the embargoes. You know what I mean? They could have been like, "Hey, this is the copy. Don't do this and that shit because we're not ready for that." You know what I mean? That's why I take like a lot of the reviews like with a grain of sand. But anyways, I'm still looking forward to the game. Like it looks good. Some people were saying the graphics are terrible, like
Well,
the NPC and
I don't see
I don't
that.
see it, man. Every single time I see people being like, "Look, it looks disgusting," it's always like they're like looking at them from like the bottom angle, like they're looking at them from their feet, and they're like shining a flashlight in their face, like with them. Like it's like when you accidentally have your selfie camera on and you don't see it. That's what they look like. And at the same time, though, it's like they look compared to what normal Bethesda NPCs look like. They
Yeah.
look really good.
Yeah,
Do you know? Like,
they still have the dead eyes, but their faces
yeah.
animate a lot more. There's better in
Well, they
general.
have
There's
AI. They
yeah.
have the facial AI that they've been working on. Some people say it's like a little weird. They some people call it Stairfield instead of
Hmm.
Starfield because of the. But that's any Bethesda game. You go to
Yes.
Skyrim, you're still gonna get that death stare, bro.
Yeah.
They they don't have eyes that look real in any game, unfortunately. But hey, at least these are the most human-looking humans they've ever made, in my opinion. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, and
and
the
that says a
graphics
lot.
look good for me. I mean, yes, they're not like top notch. Like they're not going to compete with like Cyberpunk 2077 or something like that, but it
Hmm.
looks for a Bethesda game, it looks pretty good. I guess people are just, they're expecting, a lot more, I guess.
So yeah,
I guess you
apparently
just
people are buying like the Starfield top sales charts even before the launch. So people are buying this game up. People are buying Xboxes to play it as well. So that's the hype is real for sure.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, did I
wondering.
tell you? Did I tell you the story about this dude who had his life saved because of Starfield?
Yes, I saw that. I saw
You
that. You
saw
want
that,
you want to
yeah.
tell that
Just because he was
story? But yeah,
binging the game.
yeah. Apparently he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
he
This
was
this
playing at night, right?
Yeah, he was playing the game at night. He was binging the game, and his apartment building essentially caught on fire. Um, and if he wasn't awake and he in time to be able to like wake his family up, they would have died from smoke inhalation.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
thank God he was up binging Starfield and saved the kids.
Yeah. All
Uh,
right.
this is off topic, but I'm gonna tell another story just because it's entertaining. Have you ever heard about the guy who saved his family because of the season finale of Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yes. Yeah, I heard about that.
You heard
I,
about for guys for you guys who aren't watching. There's a dude who there was a hurricane
yeah.
issued out in Florida, like there always is, or a typhoon or whatever, and everyone had to go down to their storm cellar. And there's one dad refused to go down because it was the season finale of Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Mm-hmm.
and he was gonna see it no matter what. So he stayed in the house and watched it, and a tree actually got knocked over onto the storm cellar, knocking everyone in and locking them in there. So if it wasn't for him being stubborn and watching that Buffy the Vampire show, they would have been all like trapped down there for God knows who long. It's fun. It's funny
Yeah.
how sometimes being a lazy gamer or binger can work out for you, I guess.
Yeah. Um. All right. Any last things to say about Starfield? I'm sure we'll talk about it more, especially after you and me get to play it. Like I said, by the time this
Yeah, I'm
video
gonna be
comes
binging
up,
it tomorrow,
it's
man.
either will be out or about to be out, and you and me will be playing it.
I'll definitely be playing it. Yeah.
Like I remember talking to you. We've both been pretty busy, so I have not finished Jedi Survivor, and I have not finished Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm gonna hop on this Starfield. So I'm just gonna have to, do that first.
Well, in between all the work that I've had, I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, which
Yes,
I guess
which
is
is
a
our
good
next.
segue for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
So this game
Um,
apparently, let tee it up so that you can talk about it more because you've
yeah.
played it, right? So,
Oh
uh,
yeah. I haven't
uh,
finished it yet, but I've played quite a lot of it.
so
Even the
this
multiplayer, which is really good.
this game is getting a lot of rave reviews, getting a lot of 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s. People are just saying it's massive. It's basically, it's using the D&D.
It's the closest thing you'll ever get to D&D in a video game, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of Game of the Year type of praise for this, much more than, let's say, Starfield, which is a much more mixed response, where either people just like it okay, or they really like it, but it's mixed. Where like Baldur's Gate 3 has been unanimously like, oh, this is like
Oh
Game of
yeah.
the Year stuff.
I will
So
say it's been in early access for like 3 or 4 years, so
mhm,
that did help a lot of it.
mhm,
Like you've been, technically, because I was gonna say I know that like it hit Steam like 2 or 3 years ago. I think you could play the first act like for the past couple of years, but it wasn't
mhm,
like fully out yet. So that definitely helped them. They were able to like work with the community and grow with the community until the game was like fully released.
mhm. Yeah, that definitely can help, and it help with development and everything. But like, people are going crazy for this game. It supposedly is massive.
Dude, it's
So
so deep. Like there's still things that I don't know how it works, or like that's why I haven't been able to finish the game. It's there's so much to learn, but it's kind of fun to learn it. Like it's with any tabletop RPG. D&D's got a lot going on. You do have to learn a lot, but
mhm,
once you know how your spells work and how like once you like know how everything works very well, you have so much fun. The
mhm.
freedom, Dennis, it's D&D. The freedom to kind of do whatever you want to do in your own way. It's like there's something beautiful about that freedom in Baldur's Gate. Like I will say it's pretty cool.
It's a turn-based, right? Because of it's a
Correct,
D&D
yeah.
thing. Okay, interesting.
I
Yeah.
actually played on a controller, funny enough.
Hmm.
I know it's like I know it's supposed to be a mouse and keyboard game, but I have a great time playing on a controller because it's it is isometric, like that Diablo kind of bird's eye view. You can scroll in and out, zoom in and out.
Mhm.
So you have to like click to walk, but I use a controller because you can just walk with the thumbstick. But once you're in combat, then it becomes, you got to click and place again. But I've been having a good time playing with it on controller. For anybody that does play it, if you want to try casually playing on controller, it's fun. The multiplayer is good. The multiplayer is the closest thing to D&D I've ever experienced through Discord with friends. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And if you've played Pillars of Eternity, the multiplayer behind that, then you'd love this one as well. Or sorry, Divinity Original Sin 2. If you played the multiplayer in that, you'd love this one as well. Get your friends together. Um, some people were having complaints about the game, about the level cap being 6.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being is because after level 6, dude, you get spells that like bend reality and time. How are you going to put that in a game? You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, like in D&D, you can basically become a god. You know what I mean? So like I'm happy with a level 6 level cap because things get a little goofy after that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's like, how do you even, when it comes to like reality breaking things, like how do you even incorporate that into a game? You know what I mean? How do you use that as a mechanic? So that's rather just do the first 6 levels and then focus really really hard on that portion, and then make that work. That's what they did, and I really think that that was smart of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they nailed it. It's one of those games where I do say you need a lot of time because it's like it's so immersive, Dennis. You lose yourself. It's like
That
it's like playing Elden Ring for the first couple times. You
that's
lose
that's
yourself in
why I
this
didn't
world.
get it, because I was like, oh, if
Yeah.
Starfield wasn't around the corner, I would have gotten it. But I was like, well, I'm gonna spend X amount of time on Starfield, so there's no way I have time for Baldur's Gate 3. I probably will get it
Mhm.
maybe early next year, because I do have I have Starfield
Yeah.
and then Alan Wake 2 at the end of October. Those are kind of my 2 games that I'm really looking forward
Mhm.
to this year.
I mean,
Um,
I said it to you. I said it to you on Facebook before this. Like, look, the game's not going, and I consider this like a 9.5 out of 10
mhm,
game. Honestly, you know what I mean? It's almost perfect. The only thing that's making it not perfect is a little bit of bugs here and there. But like,
mhm,
give it a year and it'll be gone. Dude, you can play. This is the kind of game, in my opinion, because it's related on D&D and because of how well fleshed out it is. You can play this game 5 years from now. It'll still hold up and be an amazing experience for you.
mhm.
So you don't have to rush to get to it. Like whenever you do get around to it, I know you'll enjoy it. You
That's
know?
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
take your time to get to it for sure.
yeah, it's funny because people complain about the graphics in Starfield. The graphics in Baldur's Gate are not as good as
It's
Starfield's,
I was gonna
and
say, yeah,
but
they're
nobody
very meh.
cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares, right? It's
Mm,
about the gameplay and the
fun, dude.
story and the fun. Yeah, like of course
Oh yeah,
graphics
that's
we
right.
complain about sometimes, but in general, like the most
So
important thing is
the
that.
funness, yeah. So we spoke about this before the time, but it became a thing for a while where people obviously speed run games, and then it became a thing to do the romance speed run,
Hmm.
where it's like how quickly can you get laid in the game. And I think the run now is like 2.5 minutes or something, or
Hmm.
like I don't know how they do it. It's like almost like 3.5 minutes. I just know it's under 4 minutes or something. It's crazy. But then people started playing. They're like, hey, wait, what if we try not to get laid in this game? And they found out that it was actually really difficult to like not get laid. Your companions are constantly flirting with you.
Hmm.
And I also thought it was a bit weird, and I found out recently, literally just a couple days ago, that it's actually a bug. It was a bug in the game that just made your companions constantly horny. Because man, I was gonna say a lot of my companions were very forward. My first experience was I was talking to Gale, who is a human wizard that you unlock.
Hmm.
You can The way Baldur's Gate works is you can either create your own character and your own class and all that stuff, which is the most fun way to do it. But you can also pick like uh from up to any 4 or 5 characters. They're companions you actually unlock in the game to play with as well, or you can just choose to play one that's already like built out for you. You know,
Hmm.
Gale's one of them. And I remember being at my camp, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to see a magic trick?" And I'm like, "I'd love to see a magic trick." And then I walk to the other side of like the encampment. I talk to Shadowheart, and she's telling me that I promised my body to another man. And I go over to Gale, and I'm like, "What the hell, Gale?" And it turns out his magic trick was his penis. So, that threw me out, man. Like that took me through. At no point in time did he like hint towards it being sexual. So I'm glad that they fixed that bug.
Jeez.
That was a wild ride. It was literally like I like for, how do I, once again, this game is so much freedom. You can at any point in time kick people out of your party. You can just be like, hey, leave. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because it's D&D, you can do anything. You can The minute you meet a companion, you can be like, hey, join us, or you can just be like, I never want to see you again. You have that freedom, which
Hmm.
is so nice. And I have had to let go companions because they're too horny. So maybe now I can replay the game and I can keep them around or something.
Fun.
Um, Dude, it's a flawless game. Don't rush to get into it. It's honestly, it's so good. People are gonna have a great time playing this game later on. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I had to actually stop playing it because it was just once I started playing the multiplayer,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Dennis, I was like, I'm gonna lose money if I don't go back to work.
Yeah.
It was it was a huge time sink. It's D&D. It's literally D&D, dude. D&D. You don't sit down and play 1 hour of D&D. You know what I mean? You sit down,
Mm-hmm.
you play D&D for like 10 hours. You know,
Yeah.
it's just one of those games. But yeah,
I'll wait till I'm
definitely a
done
good game.
editing my short before I play this game.
Exactly, yeah. And you will love it, dude. It's the
Yeah.
story is rich, the lore is rich. You will it's immersive, you know what I mean?
And
It's a lot more immersive. Like I know Starfield's going to be good, but dude, Baldur's Gate 3 is the most immersive story game that I've played in a long time.
nice.
Yeah.
Also, like hopefully the price will have gone down by the
Oh
time
yeah,
I get
true.
to it as well. All right, let's move on to the next thing, which is Nintendo. They had their Nintendo Direct. They showed off some games, but the main game that I guess everyone's talking about is the Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which is
Yeah.
supposed to be kind of like the next evolution of Mario. He turns into an elephant. Do you want to talk more about this?
Yeah, it looks really cute. I'm not gonna lie, I actually love the art style slash direction they're going in. It's
Mm-hmm.
very cutesy. Um, it seems like I don't see much hype around this, but it seems like Nintendo's kind of really pushing for this to be like they really want this to be like a big flagship Mario title.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, they're saying they want this to like inspire the younger generation of game creators to make more games, more Mario games in the future
Mm-hmm.
for Nintendo or something like that. But it's been a long time since they've done like a 2D, like a good 2D side-scrolling game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, not much to know about it except it looks really fun. Like the play style, it flows good. It doesn't look too difficult. You know, it looks like just like old school Mario. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which was a worry of mine because Super Mario Maker, which is a thing where you make your own Mario tracks, that's like a very sweaty, try hard kind of game. So it's nice. It looks casual. It looks fun. It looks cute. I'm looking forward to. I'm assuming this is like them like trying to like reignite that Super Mario like love that hit the kids. You know what I mean? Like the first
Mm-hmm.
time as a kid you're playing Super Mario. I think they're trying to get the kids back in with this one because it is very like kid friendly aimed. I could see. You know.
Yeah, I mean, recently they with Metroid they took it back old school
Mm,
to the two D, and I guess they're doing that with Mario as well. And especially for their device, right, with the Switch, 2D games just are just a
it
perfect
works,
fit,
dude.
for
No,
stuff
it
like that.
legit it works. I mean, it's funny. I was gonna say it now. I've been playing Star Ocean on my Nintendo Switch. A lot of the games I might play on my Nintendo Switch nowadays are like a lot of like 90s RPGs, like those
Mm-hmm.
like 2D, like self sprite shaded kind of
Yeah,
games, and they just work so well on that platform. Like it just
yeah,
does. No, I've been having a great time playing Star Ocean, which I confused it with Fantasy Star Online because I thought that you may have played it.
yeah.
It's like an old 90s RPG. Ah man, it's like Stargate meets like it's like Stargate if like it's like Stargate with Star Trek and then fantasy mixed together, like sword and shield kind of
Mm-hmm.
fantasy. I can't explain it any other way. It's very good though, but yeah, that kind of stuff excels on the Switch. It's also getting a limited edition. It's the we just said the game, the Mario. What's it? Beyond? Yeah, it's getting its own
Wonder,
limited
Wonder.
Wander, sorry, Wander. It's getting its own limited edition OLED Switch model,
Mm-hmm.
which looks it's just plain straight red, like Mario's like normal red, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Just the straight plain red. Looks quite nice.
Yeah. So on to the next topic. Speaking of games that you're playing, you are playing Armored Core 6. This is another
Almost
game that
finished it. Yeah.
yeah, this is another game I would get if it wasn't for Starfield coming out. This is one of those
Yeah.
I
I
probably
will
will
say
check out
not
later.
nearly as much of a time sink. Don't worry. Like if
Okay.
anything, it's more of an arcadey kind of experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's no open world. You have missions.
Yeah.
Like like it's like an arcade experience, almost like it's like mission one. You go out and there's like a different area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm loving the game now. The learning curve was a bit sharp, but then it's like
What,
I had
like
to remind
Elden Ring?
myself
Like Elden
exactly
Ring.
like, but it's yeah. Once I like got it though, it's actually way more easier than Elden Ring. Elden Ring is still way more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like once you click with the controls, the game's actually a little like I wouldn't say too easy. It's challenging, but like by the time you've done a couple missions and you have enough money, you can just buy a bunch of parts. It's like Elden Ring, where if you find the right combo of things, you can kind of become overpowered too easily. But just like Elden Ring, you choose how difficult the game is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you want, you can play with ashes. If you want, you can play without ashes. You know what I mean? So that's the experience that you can have with that. So like I don't use the overpowered builds because the game's too easy. It's not fun. So I like giving myself a challenge and like using like more melee combat builds and things like that. It's really fun. I highly recommend it to people. It's not what you're expecting. If you're expecting a From Software game, it is a From Software game, but it's like 2000s From Software
Mm-hmm.
before they started doing Dark Souls and stuff. You know what I mean? It's a very like PlayStation 2 kind of arcadey experience. It feels good though. It's very fun. It's mindless. It's got a nice story, but it is like the Michael Bay of video games at the moment. It's like it's just explosions, but it feels satisfying. You're in a mech suit, kind of. It's very fast paced. You're just flying around blasting stuff. Like it feels good. It's yeah, like I said, challenging in the beginning, but then not, and then just kind of fun. Yeah, I definitely do recommend playing it at some point in time. It's not that long of a game either, actually,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. Some of the boss fights are the boss fights are where the game actually kind of flourishes, because for the most part, everything else you kind of kill too quick and easy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the boss fights are fun. I will say that. It's definitely yeah. It's not as hard or sweaty as what I thought it was going to be, because it's from software.
Yeah.
But it was It was like a nice it was like a triple A arcade experience
Mm-hmm.
almost. I can't explain it any other way. It's very fun though. Definitely try it out. It's not nearly as much of a time sink as you think it is.
Cool.
You know?
Um,
Yeah.
all right. Well, what I'm playing right now, and it definitely fits my current schedule, is the Expanse, a Telltale series. So
Oh yeah. I haven't watched. I haven't. I still. To be fair, I said I'd watch the show first, and I haven't watched the
yeah.
show yet.
So
Is it a sequel, or is it like
it's a
rebooting
prequel.
the show?
It's
that's
actually a prequel.
prequel.
It's a prequel.
So I should definitely watch the show then.
Yeah, I mean, you'll definitely get more out of it just because
Oh,
the
okay.
the,
It's
the
not
main
necessary
character
then,
the
but
main
okay.
character is from the show. She's one of the fan favorites, Kamina
Okay.
Drummer, and so it's kind of like her story and like a prequel. Like it's almost like a spin. Like if you were watching a TV show, it'd be like sometimes when you watch a series, they'll do like a prequel episode, right? They'll like
Yeah,
throw
like
it back.
the origin of a character or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
that's what it is. That's what it is. It's not really so
Okay.
much an origin, but just like, oh, this is what she was doing before the show started, and like to tell you more about her. Anyways, the thing is, they're releasing an episode every 2 weeks. It's 5 episodes, and so they
Okay.
just released the third one, I think last week. So I actually just finished the second one episode, and it's good. It's it's what. If you know what a Telltale series is like, right? It's interactive. It's like an interactive television show.
Interactive
right?
movie. Yeah, it's very story focused, very narrative focused.
Yeah, it's not a lot of gameplay. It's mostly just dialogue choices and like walking around. And yeah, so if you know what you're getting into, if you like that Telltale experience, then if you're a fan of this show, then you'll enjoy it. Even if you aren't a fan of the show, I think you'll still enjoy it. But I think as someone who has watched the entire series, it's definitely much more rewarding seeing a character you love in a different situation, talking with different characters and whatnot. So that's what I'm playing. It's perfect for me right now because it's such like each episode is only like an hour long. You play it, I do wish they had like manual saves because like I got there was one part where like I kept dying because it was like, it's one of those.
You got to
like,
go through so much dialogue and stuff, right?
Yeah, and
to
it's
like
like
get back
stealth.
to
It's like it was like some stealth thing that like if you die, you have to start from the beginning. Anyways,
that is unfortunate.
I did pass it eventually. Go ahead.
No one's talking about. It's funny because it came out just before the Expanse came out, but the Star Trek Resurgence. I haven't given it a shot yet because that's like the Telltale Star Trek game, right?
Yeah, basically.
I haven't that came out like about a week or two before I think the other one. I was pretty excited about that just because I'm a big Star Trek fan. I haven't tried it yet, but like the game came out and nobody said anything,
Yeah. But yeah, that's fun. I'll keep playing it, and it's gonna be by I think mid-October. It's good because it's a nice diversion. All the episodes will be out by mid-October. Obviously, I'm gonna get into Starfield this week, and then Alan Wake at the end of October. So this is just nice. Like, okay, when you don't want to like think too much and you just want kind of a narrative experience, this is what it's good for. So the next topic I want to talk about, I know it's an old topic, but you and me did not cover it.
Yeah.
And it is a very significant thing. And I know even though the story is kind of old, the repercussions still haven't been felt yet, which is Microsoft ended up winning the case against the FTC. It was Microsoft versus the FTC / Sony, right? And we had talked about a lot of the things that were happening. They finally won the case. I know there's still some stuff that they have to do for not the European Union, but for England specifically.
I was going to say, yeah, there's the new UK deal that they got to work on.
Yes, but in general, I mean, for Microsoft, it's like if that doesn't go through, they're still just going to buy Activision Blizzard and they'll just leave the UK market. Exactly, that's how big this is. But I guess apparently to placate them, I think they are willing to license away all the cloud stuff for all the Activision Blizzard games to somebody else. I think that's what they want to do. But anyways, they finally won the case because it came down to the judge being like, well, all the arguments that the FTC was
15 years, by the way, the cloud streaming rights.
Yeah. All the arguments the FTC was using was basically how it was hurting Sony and not hurting the consumer. And that was basically the gist of it, was like, well, how does this hurt the consumer? And like the FTC will be like, oh, well, because Sony does this and they can't, and the judge was like, no. How does this hurt the consumer? And they couldn't really prove that. They couldn't prove that. They were just like if Microsoft is willing to open this up to, Nintendo Switch and, do this and that, anyways. So in the end, Sony kind of got, they should have taken the deal that they had gotten before because they had actually a better deal. This new deal basically only was for Call of Duty, I believe, for 10 years, where before it was Call of Duty 10 years plus all the other Activision Blizzard games for maybe 5 years or something like that. And now that's off the table. Now it's like, well, Microsoft can kind of do whatever they want with all the other games. And it's just Call of Duty that they have to give the 10-year.
Do you want to put your webcam back on for the last 15 minutes of the show here? I'm going to go through a couple small stories I have here before I go. Got my power shutting off soon. Final Fantasy 16 getting 2 DLC expansions, which is no surprise in my opinion because Final Fantasy 15 ended up with 5 DLCs, I think, in total. Yeah, I think so. I think 5 DLCs in total. So yeah, 2 big DLC expansions coming out. And they've officially started working on the PC port, which I am obviously very excited for, considering when they spoke to them about the PC port, they refused to even talk about it. But they didn't refuse. The guy was like, I think the director was like, he's so focused on the game, he doesn't even want to think about the PC version right now. That was more like his response. He's like, let's focus on this first. So that's nice. I knew it was going to come eventually, but it's nice to know that they've started working on it. And then a game that I pre-ordered I pre-ordered it during COVID, I think, and it was supposed to come out a year later. And then I got a refund and the game just disappeared off the face of the earth, which was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Big fan of this game. It was one of my favorite RPGs of all time. It's coming back out. Whole new developer though, completely new developer and a completely new release date. It's going to be getting gameplay reveal in January 2024. So it's nice to know that they're taking it seriously. So they are obviously restarting it. If we're only going to see gameplay in January, it's obviously a whole new studio, new assets, new everything. I'm assuming, you know what I mean? There's no trailer out or anything yet, but yeah, the game came out 2004. That's the game that I played. Fuck, man, it's been years. So it would actually be 20 years. January 2024 is next year. So January, it would have been 20 years since the game came out that they were showing the So that is kind of hype, I guess. Showing the trailer for the sequel 20 years later on the day it came out. That's kind of hype, I guess. Looking forward to that. I'm just happy that it's back on the table. I
thought it was dead.
Same. You actually have to go, in my opinion, with a game like this, you have to try to fuck it up. Same with Baldur's Gate 3. If you're basing it, for those who don't know, Vampire the Masquerade is also a tabletop RPG, much like Dungeons & Dragons. So it already has a very rich lore, and game mechanics and stuff like that. So all they have to do is execute it properly. You know what I mean? And hopefully they don't screw it up. But yeah. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, Bethesda Pete Hines. He says that Redfall will be a good game eventually.
Yeah, I saw
He's
that.
comparing it to Fallout 76, saying that eventually it'll get better. I think too little, too late. The thing that
Also,
yeah,
with Fallout 76, the foundation was there. It just needed to be expanded on. I don't think the foundation was there for Redfall, to be honest with
but
you.
Fallout 76 also has a social aspect to it.
Yeah.
So when you fix a game years later, like No Man's Sky or anything else, it's the community that when it comes together brings the hype back. The
Mm.
community brought No Man's Sky back things started working. The community brought back Fallout 76. It was
Yeah.
like, hey, the game's working. Come play it with me. Like your buddy's like, hey, so like at least Redfall does kind of have that multiplayer aspect where it's like if maybe one dude will be like, hey, the game's pretty good, come join me. But I
Mm.
do think it's a little too late. Look, the game visually looked beautiful to me. It was just broken in terms of game mechanics. Like the game mechanics were just horrible.
Mm.
I do hope that they fix it because I can see me and my friends playing this game and having a lot of fun. I just don't know if it'll like get the I don't think they'll ever make their money back. You know, I
Yeah.
don't think they'll ever recover from that. I just don't
Yeah.
think they can. Um, Oh yeah, that's right. So we know about Phantom City coming. Sorry, Phantom Liberty, the Cyberpunk DLC coming out. Uh, essentially, when the DLC comes out, even if you don't get the DLC, it's coming with the 2.0, so a massive overhaul to the Cyberpunk engine. We've spoken about this
Yeah.
before. Um, one of the main things that they're overhauling is the police system to make it a lot more, I guess, a lot more like Grand Theft Auto, where it's like if you actually do some, like currently, in my opinion, in Cyberpunk, you can just like go in a murder spree in the streets, and it'll take a while before a cop shows up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see, I could see them overhauling that system, which is cool. So Cyberpunk, once the DLC comes out, even if you don't get the DLC, the game should feel quite different. Might be worth another playthrough for some of you
Yeah.
guys. Um, I said this before. We know this is happening now that Starfield's out. Bethesda has started pre-production of Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
Give it 8 years before we see that one. Um, okay, I touched on that. Oh yeah, GeForce Now is coming out. I think so. GeForce Now. I don't know if they partnered with Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I know Game Pass has xCloud and they were pushing for that. But
Mm-hmm.
now that they're like working together with GeForce, I'm wondering if they're just going to do that instead because GeForce Now has been doing the game streaming thing for a while now, and they do it really good.
Mm-hmm.
But so I don't know. I'm curious to see what's going on there. All I know is it's not most game streaming services aren't available in South Africa, which sucks. Because I tried to apply for a couple, even the PlayStation, the series that you said is getting more expensive, right? The tier
Yes,
system,
that's something
PS
we should
Plus.
talk about. So
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus has like a 35% hike to to all their tiers. I was on their lowest tier, which was basically just like the 2 free games a month plus
And 60
online.
for the year, I think.
Yeah,
$60 for
I
the
think it used
year.
to be
Yeah.
40, now it's 60. I'll be
Mm.
honest with you. As soon as I heard it, I went to go cancel it because my thing was basically I think was going to renew today, and I was like,
Oh shit.
dude, I was like, I hardly use it. I'm just gonna fucking cancel it, and I canceled it. It was like, what am I paying for? Like.
Mm.
So, anyways, I canceled it. I'm sure a lot of people canceled it. The thing is remember, even though technically it's cheaper than Xbox Game Pass, remember it doesn't include first party. I mean, it does include first party games. They don't include day one first party games. So, the Xbox, even though it's more expensive, is still a much better deal because you do get Starfield. You will get Avowed. You will, you know what I mean? Like, all those are all day one. Whenever they make the next Gears of War, you'll get that day one. Where PlayStation, you have a good library, right? But
Yeah.
if you've already played that library, like I've played most of the library, I either own or have played most of the first party
It sucks.
PlayStation
It sucks
games.
because you have to pay for that you have to pay for that for online services, which
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Like my friend, he's a streamer. He's looking forward to playing the new EA FC game, which is the new FIFA game
Yeah.
essentially, and he wants to stream it and stuff. But in order to play online, he has to have that PS Plus. Or
Yeah.
sorry, well, yeah, it's still called PS Plus, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, and now they've upped that, so that is shitty. Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Yeah. So not a fan. A lot of people are pissed, especially because they're not adding, they're not giving you anything extra for it. So,
Mm.
anyways, you know, I think there's a
So
lot of small things. I think while we're gone, I know The Last of Us got a bunch of Emmy nominations, the TV show,
oh
which
yeah,
is cool. Black Panther, there's going to be a Black Panther game coming from EA. And I believe it's from the developers behind Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor, which was a pretty cool
yeah,
game.
they did really, yeah, that was a good action RPG
Yeah,
series.
yeah. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings Gollum team basically got shut down. Remember, they were gonna like make another game or something like that.
No, they should
Yeah,
have just buried themselves after
yeah,
that game. That was
yeah,
disgusting.
yeah. They got shut down. Stray launched on Xbox. That was a PS
Mm.
exclusive for a while. Finally came. Supposedly, there's gonna be a Japanese Assassin's Creed game, so kind of
Yeah.
something to compete against Ghost of Tsushima. But obviously that's going to be multi-platform. That's going to come in. Rumor is 2024. There was this whole Red Dead Redemption remaster rumor, and then it ended
Yeah, I
up
heard
just
about that. Yeah.
but then it ended up being only for PS4 and Nintendo Switch, and it wasn't really a remaster. It was just
It's a
the
port,
version
yeah.
that we had just for PS4 and Nintendo Switch. The Gran
So
Turismo.
supposedly the Switch can play it at 1080p,
Yeah.
which only if it's docked. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, that makes sense because for those who don't know, the Switch only works at 1080p if it's docked.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it works.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that's a
Uh,
feature. Never
the
mind.
Gran Turismo movie came out. It didn't do
It
very
looks
well.
good.
It didn't do very
Oh
well.
no,
Yeah,
that
didn't do very
sucks,
well.
dude. Actually, I was looking forward to that. This is
No.
off topic, but have you seen Oppenheimer?
I still have not seen. I was so busy with
I really
my
want to
short
see it though. It
film.
looks so good.
I haven't.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours. So, and also all the like IMAX screens were sold out. So I'm gonna try and
Oh,
see it
true. Yeah.
now that I'm not done with my short film, but I'm done with the majority of my short film. So, yeah. So, yeah. What else do you got in your list?
This is small, but Fortnite is getting DLSS3 support.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've ever since they've added the no build mode, I've started playing Fortnite again casually for fun, and it's nice. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't take the game too seriously, you actually kind of have fun with it. You know what I mean? Half-Life 2 is getting ray traced, which that actually kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stoked to play Half-Life 2. We'll replay it with ray tracing. That'd be dope. I know they did that with Quake 2. I think they well, Quake 2 had a RTX mode. You could get RTX
Mm-hmm.
Quake 2, but that was only for like the multiplayer. And then I think they released the actual like Quake 2 campaign with ray tracing, which is dope too. Yeah, I don't think like I got South Africa got Valorant. Valorant got South African servers. Is what I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to say. So I'm super stoked about that. I've been so happy playing that game. It's been really really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's pretty much all the news I've got here. Yeah, that I can think of. I think we may have missed something, but if so, we can always just get it next time. You know.
Yeah. I think we just want to just get an episode out because
Mm.
we hadn't done
Dude, with
stuff in
our schedules, who knows when we can meet up again? Yeah.
yeah. Hopefully sooner than 2
Hopefully
months.
sooner. Yeah. No, I agree.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to Starfield. Gonna be out.
Yeah.
And then Alan Wake 2 in October 27th, which I guess they moved to that day. They were originally gonna do like early October, and they moved it.
Mhm.
They're like, there's too much stuff coming out, which is good. With the Black Myth Wukong.
Oh
There's
yeah.
some more footage at Gamescom.
There was some more footage, yeah. And like I said though, it's like a lot of the stuff we've actually already seen, just like way more because they obviously now redid it in the new Unreal Engine. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it just looks a lot more polished and like tightened up. You know what I mean? But so far, not any new experiences, which leads me to believe that the game's going to be amazing when it comes out. But I can tell it's going to be short. You know,
Mhm.
I can already tell. But I don't care. I think I'm gonna have a great. It looks fun. That's all that really matters. You know.
Yeah.
I was disappointed with what was the last Dark Souls game that hit Game Pass? What was it? Wolong. I was a bit disappointed by Wolong.
Mm-hmm.
Wolong.
I didn't
Yeah,
play it.
didn't. Yeah, it was. It didn't. I don't know. Like it just didn't really hit for me in terms of like a Souls-like game. Like it just didn't hit for me. Like it was kind of going more for like a Sekiro vibe in my opinion. But yeah.
All right.
All right. Well,
Anything else?
no, I
Sure
got
there
like
is. I'm sure there is, but
7. Probably. I got like 8 minutes of electricity left though, so
yeah. All right,
may as
cool.
well say my goodbyes now. Yeah.
All right, guys. So thanks for watching, listening. Yes, hopefully we'll be back sooner than later. You can
We
make
do
sure.
apologize for the wait,
Yeah.
by the way.
You can subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog. You can follow me on Twitter at ThinkHero or on Instagram, Dennis.tzng. And where can people find you, Josh?
You guys can find me on Twitch at It's Thespis, all lowercase. There should be a link in the description below. And once I hit 100 followers, I will start streaming actively again. And you guys can find me in the Revog Discord channel. I'm always
Yeah.
down to talk about video games, movies, TV shows. Maybe you guys can tell me what you think about Ahsoka, see what your vibes are on that. You know, I know Dennis has been enjoying it.
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. Yeah, I'm sure we can talk about Starfield on the Discord channel as
Oh,
well.
that's gonna happen for sure. Yeah, I know there was a bit of Baldur's Gate 3 talk on the Discord server too, a bit back too, so that's nice.
Cool.
All
All
right.
right. Until next time, see you guys later.
Later.